Hello everyone, welcome back to my stream. Tonight we're going to do some lore reading stream. Right, here we are of Windhelm. Where should we be heading? Okay, so this is gonna be some sort of farewell stream. So Winterhold and Dawnstar are now Imperial, and Markarth is now under the Stormcloak control. So let's go to no, Riften is still under right, we're going to Winterhold. This is now under Imperial control. Academy is actually in ruins, so I don't think that during the truce negotiations that was an equal exchange. Alright, let's put these Azudal's boots. Barely loaded. Oh, there is a new Stormcloak encampment. Right, we're not hitting these guys. They're not aggressive until I come up to them on melee range. The Wolf Queen? Look one. What's it doing here? I think I hit something else also. Just didn't see it. That might probably be. Who might you be? Night Lord Vampire. Alright. You're so dead. I hope she's happy. Hello there.
If you know any true sons and daughters of Skyrim, tell them to head to Winterhold.
Winterhold Stormcloak camp discovered. Or the quartermaster.
Talos guide you.
Doubt. I long to be out
Damn faithless Imperials.
there, waging war against the Empire.
We didn't have a quartermaster. How pitiful is that?
Keep your eyes open.
Poor people. They're the victims of war. Alright, we'll check in the gold. In Orcish arrows. And some more gold in charcoal. Barrels that are empty. You'd rather be plowing the field? Well, probably, yeah. Look at those injured guys. Yeah, I agree, swinging swords is so much fun. But who's gonna collect the harvest and who's gonna plow it? I mean, plow the fields. Yo, bro, welcome back to my stream. This encampment is somewhat empty. Oh well, it's where we were revived during our Thieves Guild quest. Okay, so we are going to Winterhold, since it has new Jarl now. Why was it glowing? Oh, that's why. Oh, the massacre! Yay! Thalmor?
Don't you see? But the best you are but a dog. I am the master.
They have a battle music. Wow.
Life and lands are now.
My damn.
Not like this.
I gotta be careful. Oh, yes.
You're right. I'd fight the entire legion myself if they dare. Go their places here.
Wait, what? Ah, they managed to kill one Stormcloak soldier. I had to intervene earlier, but alright. Nothing I can do now anyway. Except take the loot and run. Hey doggy. We'll put on a Hammerneck just in case. I'm sorry, doggy. But otherwise you'd attack me. In fact, the ability to run around after completing the game is so nice. I'm gonna track your soul. Do they have any new rumors?
A fine day to you, friend. May
Turns
you
out
die
who
with a
runs
sword in your
Winterhold doesn't change much. Can't say I'm surprised. Drink for the thirsty, food for...
Oh, we don't care. Good.
I won't complain about Courier being gone, but I don't expect things to really be any different. Let's sate that appetite, huh?
Hum. Hey, nice trade, by the way.
See ya. If there's anything you need, just let me know.
Now here's a man I'm glad to see.
Yeah,
I don't like doing business with Azora's faithful.
I'll sell
Make it
just about
quick.
anything if it's worth my time. Keep that in mind, will you?
Just say the word if you need a drink or something to
Is there
eat.
anything else you can tell me about Isabel Relaine?
No, there isn't, and I suggest you leave it at that. I don't want to see anyone get hurt over this. Until next time.
I do what's necessary so we can get by. Have to.
The gods gave you two hands. I'd be a lot use them both for your happier with a belly full of meat.
Yeah, there's a great hall. Yeah. Jarl's Longhouse.
Can I help you? Azura's wisdom to you, friend. My job is to serve the Jarl, not waste time talking with travelers.
May the gods watch over your battles, friend. With the Empire's help, Winterhold will be back on its feet in no time.
Anything else you need, my Jarl?
There is room in my court for a new Thane. It's an honorary title, mainly, but there are a few perks someone like you could make use of. However, I could only grant the title to someone who is known throughout my hold. You help my people, and I'll make you my Thane.
It would be an honor.
Good luck to you.
I've helped your people.
Then by my right as Jarl, I name you Thane of Winterhold. I grant you this weapon from the armory to serve as your badge of office. I'll also notify the guards of your new title. Wouldn't want them to think you're part of the common rabble now. Aye. There's yet hope that our relationship with the college can be repaired.
Yeah, this guy's attitude I like more.
The Legion's always looking for strong, capable warriors. You think you've got what it takes?
Winterhold was once the capital of Skyrim, you know. Quite an honor. I'd like nothing more than to see Winterhold regain its former glory. All right, then.
His intentions is to repair the relationship with the college. I admire that.
Thornjolf is convinced I've got some connections at the college, so he goes easy on me.
Thornjolf? Who's Thornjolf?
It's
There's
hard
Kralder
to
here.
recover from something like the Great Collapse, but I believe Winterhold can do it.
Divine smile on you, friend.
I don't really know anyone at the college. I guess everyone just assumes I do because I'm a Dunmer.
Well,
Yes, Dovahkiin. How can I help you? I know you're kind. Always sneaking about.
sneaky. Hello.
You're not as dumb as you look. Enchanting services are one of the few things that keep us in touch with the rest of Skyrim.
I'm sure you've made note of who's been the most helpful during your time here, Archmage.
Oh yes. But they removed the corpse of our arch enemy, and that was a total mistake. Where's the corpse now? It should be bathed here. To remind us all of our greatest enemies. Monsieur Good Bookkeeper.
May your next fight bring you victory, friend.
What? Would you be interested in an Elder Scroll?
Until next time.
Holy cow. He'll save them for good.
Archmage or not, my rules about books still stand.
Would you be interested in an Elder Scroll?
Very funny. Did Enter put you up to this?
I'm serious, it's yours if you want it.
You? Really? An Elder Scroll? I would be honored. Beyond honored to have such a thing here at the college. This opens up entire new realms of research for us. Oh, if only Septimus were here to see this. Thank you. Please, take this. It can't quite compare to an Elder Scroll, but still, you will be remembered for generations for this. Assorted books, scrolls. I'm sure you'll find something useful.
Why are his prices so sucky? Look at that. Volsung? Oh.
Till
That's
next
why.
All this knowledge might have been lost. Assorted books, scrolls. I'm sure you'll find something useful.
Blade of Winter. Oh. Now I've been given something interesting. Well, he doesn't have any money now, don't he? 40. Skilled helmet. Stormcloak cuirass. Yeah. We have great fun with this bottle of
Until
wine
next
here.
time.
Archmage's quarters. I'd really appreciate some music. There should be an enchanting table somewhere. Oh, there it is. Enchanty. That's all we've got, so let's enchant it. And finally, let's get on to something we've been a bit delaying. Now we need to do it. Nightingale Blade. Oh, there, that's where it is. So, Palla, Volume 1, by Wojny Mirsteed. Palla. I remember when I first heard that name not long ago at all. It was at a Tales and Talos ball at a very fine estate west of Mir Korob, to which I and my fellow Mages Guild initiates had found ourselves unexpectedly invited. Truth be told, we needn't have been too surprised. There were very few other noble families in Mir Korob. The region had its halcyon days as a resort for the wealthy far back in the Second Era, and on reflection it was only appropriate to have sorcerers and wizards present at a supernatural holiday. Not that we were anything more exotic than students at a small, non-exclusive charter house for the guild, but like I said, there was a paucity of other choices available. For close to a year, the only home I had known was the rather ramshackle if sprawling grounds of the Mir Korob Mages Guild. My only companies were my fellow initiates, most of which only tolerated me, and the masters whose bitterness at being at a backwater guild prompted never-ending abuse. Immediately the School of Illusion had attracted me. The magister who taught us recognized me as an apt pupil who loved not only the spells with the science but their philosophical underpinnings. There was something about the idea of warping the imperceptible energies of light, sound, and mind that appealed to my nature. Not for me the flashy schools of destruction and alteration, the holy schools of restoration and conjuration, the practical schools of alchemy and enchantment, or the chaotic school of mysticism. No, I was never so pleased as to take an ordinary object and by a little magic make it seem something other than what it was. It would have taken more imagination than I had to apply that philosophy to my monotonous life. After the morning's lessons, we were assigned tasks before our evening classes. Mine had been to clean out the study of a recently deceased resident of the guild and categorize his clutter of spellbooks, charms, and incunabula. It was a lonely and tedious appointment. Magister Tendixus was inveterate collector of worthless junk, but I was reprimanded any time I threw something away of the least possible value. Gradually, I learned enough to deliver each of his belongings to the appropriate department. Potions of healing to the Magisters of Restorations, book on physical phenomena to the Magisters of Alteration, herbs and minerals to the alchemists, and soul gems and bound items to the enchanters. After one delivered to the enchanters, I was leaving with my customary lack of appreciation when Magister Ether called me back. "Boy," said the portly old man, handing me back one item, "destroy this." It was a small black disc covered with runes with a ring of red-orange gems like bones circling its periphery. "I'm sorry, Magister," I stammered. "I thought it was something you'd be interested in." "Take it to the Great Flame and destroy it," he barked, turning his back on me. "You never brought it here." My interest was piqued, because I knew the only thing that would make him react in such a way: necromancy. I went back to Magister Tendix's chamber and pored through his notes, looking for any reference to the disc. Unfortunately, most of the notes had been written in a strange code that I was powerless to decipher. I was so fascinated by the mystery that I nearly arrived late for my evening class in enchantment, taught by Magister Ilther himself. For the next several weeks, I divided my time categorizing the general debris and making my deliveries, and researching the disc. I came to understand that my instinct was correct. The disc was a genuine necromantic artifact. Though I couldn't understand most of the Magister's notes, I determined that he thought it to be a means of resurrecting a loved one from the grave. Sadly, the time came when the chamber had been categorized and cleared, and I was given another assignment, assisting in the stables at the guild's menagerie. At least finally I was working with some of my fellow initiates and had the opportunity of meeting the common folk and nobles who came to the guild on various errands. Thus was I employed when we were all invited to the Tales and Talos ball. If the expected glamour of the evening were not enough, our hostess was reputed to be young, rich, unmarried orphan from Hammerfell. Only a month or two before had she moved to our desolate wooded corner of the Imperial Province to reclaim an old family manor house and grounds. The initiates at the guild gossiped like old women about the mysterious young lady's past, what had happened to her parents, why she had left or been driven from her homeland. Her name was Betaniki, and that was all we knew. We wore our robes of initiation with pride as we arrived for the ball. At the enormous marble foyer, a servant announced each of our names as if we were royalty, and we strutted into the midst of the revelers with a great puffery. Of course, we were then promptly ignored by one and all. In essence, we were unimportant figures to lend some thickness to the ball. Background characters. The important people pushed through us with perfect politeness. There was old lady Shaudira discussing diplomatic appointments to Balmoral with the Duke of Rimfarlin. An orc warlord entertained a giggling princess with a tale of rape and pillage. 3 of the guild magisters worried with 3 painfully thin noble spinsters about the haunting of Daggerfall. Intrigues at the imperial and various royal courts were analyzed, gently mocked, fretted over, toasted, dismissed, evaluated, mitigated, admonished, subverted. No one looked our way even when we were right next to them. It was as if my skill at illusion had somehow rendered us all invisible. I took my flagon out to the terrace. The moons were doubled, equally luminous in the sky and in the enormous reflecting pool that stretched out into the garden. The white marble statuary lining the sides of the pool caught the fiery glow and seemed to burn like torches in the night. The sight was so otherworldly that I was mesmerized by it, and the strange red-guard figures immortalized in stone. Our hostess had made her home there so recently that some of the sculptures were still wrapped in sheets that billowed and swayed in the gentle breeze. I don't know how long I stared before I realized I wasn't alone. She was so small and so dark, not only in her skin but in her clothing, that I nearly took her for a shadow. When she turned to me, I saw that she was very beautiful and young, not more than 17. Are you our hostess? I finally asked. Yes, she smiled, blushing, but I am ashamed to admit that I am very bad at it. I should be inside with my new neighbors, but I think we have very little in common. It's been made abundantly clear that they hoped I have nothing in common with them either. I laughed. When I'm a little higher than an initiate in the Mages Guild, they might see me as more of an equal. I don't understand the concept of equality in Cyrodiil yet. She frowned. In my culture, you proved your worth, not just expected it. My parents both were great warriors, as I hope to be. Her eyes went out to the lawn, to the statues. Do the sculptures represent your parents? That's my father Perium there, she said, gesturing to a life-size representation of a massively built man, unashamedly naked, gripping another warrior by the throat and preparing to decapitate him with an outstretched blade. It was clearly a realistic depiction. Perium's face was plain, even slightly ugly, with a low forehead, a mass of tangled hair, stubble on his cheeks, even a slight gap in his teeth, which no sculptor would surely have invented, except to do justice to his model's true idiosyncrasies. And your mother? I asked, pointing to a nearby statue of a proud, rather squat warrior woman in a mantilla and scarf holding a child. Oh no, she smiled. That was my uncle's old nurse. Mother's statue still has a sheet over it. I don't know what prompted me to insist that we unveil the statue that she pointed to. In all likelihood, it was nothing but fate, and a selfish desire to continue the conversation. I was afraid that if I did not give her a project, she would feel the need to return to the party, and I would be alone again. At first she was reluctant. She had not yet made up her mind whether the statues would suffer in the wet, sometimes cold Cyrodiil climate. Perhaps all should be covered, she reasoned. It may be that she was merely making conversation and was reluctant as I was to end the standoff and be that much closer to having to return to the party. In a few minutes' time we wore the tarp from the statue on Betanike's mother. That is when my life changed forevermore. She was an untamed spirit of nature, screaming in a struggle with a misshapen monstrous figure in black marble. Her gorgeous long fingers were raking across the creature's face. The monster's talons gripped her right breast in a sort of caress that professes a mortal wound. Its legs and hers wound around one another in a battle that was a dance. I felt annihilated. This lithe but formidable woman was beautiful beyond all superficial standards. Whoever had sculptured it had somehow captured not only a face and figure of a goddess, but her power and will. She was both tragic and triumphant. I fell instantly and fatally in love with her. I had not even noticed when Galen, one of my fellow initiates who was leaving the party, came up behind us. Apparently I had whispered the word magnificent because I heard Betanike reply as if miles away, yes, it is magnificent. That's why I was afraid of exposing it to the elements. Then I heard clearly, like a stone breaking water, Galen, Mara preserve me, that must be Palla. Then you heard of my mother, asked Betanike, turning his way. I hail from Wayrest, practically on the border to Hammerfell. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't heard of your mother and her great heroism, ridding the land of that abominable beast. She died in that struggle, didn't she? Yes, said the girl sadly, but so too did the creature. For a moment we were all silent. I don't remember anything more of that night. Somehow I knew I was invited to dine the next evening, but my mind and heart had been entirely and forevermore arrested by the statue. I returned back to the guild, but my dreams were fevered and brought me no rest. Everything seemed diffused by white light, except for one beautiful, fearsome woman, Palla. Right, our next move is ours to go to Dawnstar. Potions. No. Alright. Let's take it on the other side. Yes, resources. Can't recall where this safe. This safe contains resources. Let's put them here. Alright, I think we're ready to move on. And also I think we should relocate because this place doesn't have any music. We need more music. It's funny that such a magic place doesn't have any music. It should have magical music. Alright, we're going to Dawnstar, our next travel marker. Let's save it. Well, we're only half an hour into the stream and only read one book. I can't say it's small either. Excuse me. Although I'll think that. Let's see if we're using the right shout. No, we're not. With this elemental fury. And who might you be, sir? Thug. This person is busy. Oh well. I won't interfere then. Ouch. Really? Oops, that was the wrong spell. Excuse me, Mr. Bear. At least he got warmer in such a cold terrain. Well, the clams regenerated. Iron ore vein, some more. I was thinking while digging up all this ore that if I do some crafting with all the resources I've collected over the lives of this game, I probably can get to 12 million pieces of gold. Well, it's almost unlikely, but still. What if I'm right? Well, most of my resources are gathered in Whiterun. We haven't been there in a while. Right, it's closed. Oh wait, we can still go to the Jarl. Into the inn. And hey, why the Imperials were so uninterested in this hold? After all, it has 2 or 3 mines. Jarl Bryn and Marilis.
You're someone who can get things done. I like that.
How's the war going?
The Empire has stretched itself too far. This rebellion in Skyrim is one problem, but solving it won't fix everything. But that's the kind of talk an old warhorse shouldn't be making. Don't worry. I have my problems with the Empire, but I'm still a soldier first. We'll keep peace and order in Dawnstar.
Is Dawnstar prepared for dragon attacks?
No, we're completely exposed. Bows and arrows are in short supply. Every building is made of thatch and wood. I've given standing orders to the guards to prepare water bucket runs to the harbor in case of a fire, but that's all we can do.
Anything else you need, my Jarl?
There is room in my court for a new Thane. It's an honorary title mainly, but there are a few perks someone like you could make use of. However, I could only grant the title to someone who is known throughout my hold. You help my people, and I'll make you my Thane.
Deal. It would
Good
be
luck.
an honor. I've helped your people.
Then by my right as Jarl, I name you Thane of the Pale. Congratulations. I grant you a personal housecarl, and this weapon from my armory to serve as your badge of office. I'll also notify my guards of your new title. Wouldn't want them to think you're part of the common rabble now.
Blade of the Pale. Now
Stay out of trouble now.
Now that is what I like. Where are her servants, by the way? Sleeping their asses off.
I'm here to lend my magic to the people of Dawnstar. I had hoped life would be simpler here, but war seems to find a way of following me. I served in the Great War as a Legion battle mage. I've no desire to go back.
Alright. They won't pressure you. How about you?
Good to have you by my side, friend. I need reliable people around.
Wait a bit, please. I hope the game won't bug. No, it didn't, apparently. Yay! Right, now we go to the inn. No, this is the barracks, not the inn. Oh, the barracks are right next to the inn.
The Windpeak Inn features the finest bard in all of Dawnstar. Me. Sorry if my father seems a bit distracted. A lot's happened.
I'm sorry. My mind was just somewhere else. Do you need a room? Drink? Oh, do you need a drink for the thirsty? Food for the hungry.
I can't afford anything.
All right.
Okay, here we go. We've gained 2 new titles over the course of one night. Solitude. Let's make a marker and go for it. Too bad there are no Khajiit caravans around. We could sell some stuff. Of course. Somebody's been hidden in somebody else. Let's see what I can do. Vigilant of Stendarr.
The of Stendarr does not extend to Daedra worshippers.
Right, I'm leaving. I can't say I'm not a Daedra worshipper. These guys seems to be bandits.
Huh?
You got no fish around. What? Who said that? I think he's on this rock. Bandit Marauder.
It'll be so much easier. Where are you?
I'm right here. Now you see me? I know you can't, you're facing on the dirt. Well, other time maybe. There might be some bandits over there, by these pillars. Oh, it's a Dragon Mount. Never mind. Wait, the other encampment just gone? Oh my god, what have I done? So instead of 2 encampments, there is only 1. How quaint. We trading options.
Why'd you join the Stormcloaks? Cousin, take a look.
Where's the racial phylogeny? Where is it? Hypothetical treachery you've read even back in the Elder Scrolls 4. I can't see it, so let's sell something else. Alright, that's fine. Let's get out of here now.
Some say that or grabbed him. It wasn't long before I found myself under Ulfric's banner.
I have stolen the steel sword. Yes, was bitten. And the way it glitched, that was really strange. My character didn't launch the fireball. You've been poisoned. Right. What about this hole? Right, let's hear the Jarl's opinion on everything that has happened lately. Alright.
I heard you were at the wedding of the Empress cousin.
Indeed, I was.
What is it, Khajiit?
If you've business with the Jarl, I'd ask that you speak to me first.
Well, look at you.
All right.
If only everyone acted like you did. Tamriel is full of wisdom and magic, if one is willing to look for it. Few have their eyes. I speak and others hear. It is my hope that instead they listen.
Let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll.
Indeed. Somebody did steal the sweet roll.
There ain't much to offer, but if you want a place dry to spend night, I'll rent you a room. Running an inn weren't my plan, but Falion decided to move here, so I joined him. Take a look.
I don't have enough money to buy my stuff. At least they might buy that.
Until next time.
Good trade.
Imagine blowing up an entire town. Damn college.
Damn you. There are tones in the college saying that it wasn't college's mistake. And it wasn't because of the college. And because of Thalmor's stupidity, the college nearly was destroyed again. Well, not again, but the Winterhold will be destroyed totally. And they think of themselves as a superior race. Superior race. Oh, it's 6:49 a.m. Right, let's read the second part of Palato. Palla, Volume 2 by Wojna Miersdeed. Palla, Palla, the name burned in my heart. I found myself whispering it in my studies even when I tried to concentrate on something the Magister was saying. My lips were silently pursed to voice the Pal, and tongue lightly flicked to form of La, as if I were kissing her spirit before me. It was madness in every way except that I knew that it was madness. I knew I was in love. I knew she was a noble Redguard woman, a fierce warrior more beautiful than the stars. I knew her young daughter, Betaniki, had taken possession of her manor house near the guild, and that she, like me, perhaps was even infatuated. I knew Palla had fought a terrible beast and killed it. I knew Palla was dead. And I say, I knew it was madness, and by that I knew I could not be mad. But I also knew that I must return to Betaniki's palace to see her statue of my beloved Palla engaged in that rich, final, horrible, fatal battle with the monster. Return I did, over and over again. Had Betaniki been a different sort of noble woman, more comfortable with her peers, I would not have had so many opportunities. In her innocence, unaware of my sick obsession, she welcomed my company. We would talk for hours, laughing, and every time we would take a walk to the reflecting pond where I would always stop breathless before the sculpture of her mother. It's a marvelous tradition you have, preserving these figures of your ancestors at their finest moments, I said, feeling her curious eyes on me, and the craftsmanship is without parallel. You wouldn't believe me, laughed the girl, but it was a bit of scandal when my great-grandfather began the custom. We Redguards hold a great reverence for our families, but we are warriors, not artists. He hired a traveling artist to create the first statues, and everyone admired them until it was revealed that the artist was an elf, an Altmers from the Somerset Isle. Scandal! It was absolutely, Betaniki nodded seriously. The idea that a pompous, wicked elf's hands had formed these figures of noble Redguard warriors was unthinkable, profane, irreverent, everything bad you can imagine, but my great-grandfather's heart was in the beauty of it, and his philosophy of using the best to honor the best, passed down to us all. I would not have been considered having a lesser artist create the statues of my parents, even if it would have been more allegiant to my culture. They're all exquisite, I said, but you like the one of my mother most of all. She smiled. I see you look at it, even when you seem to be looking at the others. It's my favorite also. Would you tell me more about her? I asked, trying to keep my voice light and conversational. Oh, she would have said she was nothing extraordinary, but she was, the girl said, picking a flower from the garden. My father died when I was quite young, and she had so many roles to fill, but she did them all effortlessly. We have a great many business interests, and she was brilliant at managing everything, certainly better than I am now, and all it took was her smile and everyone obeyed, and those that didn't pay dearly. She was very witty and charming, but a formidable force when the need arose for her to fight. Hundreds of battles, but I can never remember a moment of feeling neglected or unloved. I literally thought she was too strong for death. Stupid, I know, but when she went to battle that horrible creature, that freak from a mad wizard's laboratory, I had never even thought she would not return. She was kind to her friends and ruthless to her enemies. What more can one say about a woman than that? Poor Botanike's eyes teared up with remembrance. What sort of villain was I to goad her so, in order to satisfy my perverted longings? Shalgoreth could never have conflicted a mortal man more than me. I found myself both weeping and filled with desire. Paula not only looked like a goddess, but from her daughter's story she was one. That night, while undressing for bed, I rediscovered the black disc I had stolen from Magister Tendix's office weeks before. I had half forgotten about its existence, that mysterious necromantic artifact which the mage believed could resurrect a dead love. Almost by pure instinct, I found myself placing the disc on my heart and whispering Paula. A momentary chill filled my chamber. My breath hung in the air in a mist before dissipating. Frightened, I dropped the disc. It took a moment before my reason returned, and with it, an inescapable conclusion. The artifact could fulfill my desire. Until the early morning hours, I tried to raise my mistress from the chains of oblivion, but it was no use. I was no necromancer. I entertained thoughts of how to ask one of the magisters to help me, but I remembered how Magister Ilther had bid me to destroy it. They would expel me from the guild if I went to them and destroyed the disc themselves, and with it, my only key to bringing my love to me. I was in my usual semi-torpid condition the next day in classes. Magister Ilther himself was lecturing on his specialty, the School of Enchantment. He was a dull speaker with a monotone voice, but suddenly I felt as if every shadow had left the room and I was in a palace of light. When most persons think of my particular science, they think of the process of invention, the infusing of charms and spells into objects, the creation of a magical blade perhaps or a ring. The skilled enchanter is also a catalyst. The same mind that can create something new can also provoke greater power from something old. A ring that can generate warmth for a novice, on the hand of such a talent, can bake a forest black. The fat man chuckled. Not that I'm advocating that, leave that for the School of Destruction. That week all the initiates were asked to choose a field of specialization. All were surprised when I turned my back on my old darling, the School of Illusion. It seemed ridiculous to me that I had ever entertained an affection for such superficial charms. All my intellect was now focused on the School of Enchantment, the means by which I could free the power of the disc. For months thereafter I barely slept. A few hours a week I'd spend with Botanike and my statue to give myself strength and inspiration. All the rest of my time was spent with Magister Ilther or his assistants, learning everything I could about enchantment. They taught me how to taste the deepest levels of magic within a stored object. A simple spell cast once, no matter how skillfully and no matter how spectacularly, is ephemeral of the present. What it is and no more, sighed Magister Ilther, but placed in a home, it develops into an almost living energy, maturing and ripening so only its surface is touched when an unskilled hand wields it. You must consider yourself a miner, digging deeper to pull forth the very heart of gold. Every night when the laboratory closed, I practiced what I had learned. I could feel my power grow and with it the power of the disc. Whispering Paula, I delved into the artifact, feeling every slick nick that marked the ruins and every facet of the gemstones. At times I was so close to her I felt hands touching mine, but something dark and bestial, the reality of death I suppose, would always break across the dawning of my dream. When it came an overwhelming rotten odor, which the initiates in the chambers next to mine began to complain about. Something must have crawled into the floorboards and died, I offered lamely. Magister Ilthor praised my scholarship and allowed me to use of his laboratory after hours to further my studies. Yet no matter what I learned, Paula seemed scarcely closer. One night it all ended. I was swaying in a deep ecstasy, moaning her name, the deep bruise in my chest when a sudden lightning flash through the window broke my concentration. A tempest of furious rain roared over Mir Corab. I went to close the shutters, and when I returned to my table, I found that the disc had shattered. I broke into hysterical sobs and then laughter. It was too much for my fragile mind to bear such a loss after so much time and study. The next day and the day after I spent in my bed burning with a fever. Had I not been a mage's guild with so many healers, I likely would have died. As it was, I provided an excellent study for the budding young scholars. When at last I was well enough to walk, I went to visit Betaniki. She was charming as always, never once commenting on my appearance, which must have been ghastly. Finally I gave her reason to worry when I politely but firmly declined to walk with her along the reflecting pool. "But you love looking at the statuary," she exclaimed. I felt that I owed her the truth and much more. "Dear lady, I love more than the statuary. I love your mother. She is all I've been able to think about for months now. Ever since you and I first removed the tarp from the blessed sculpture, I don't know what you think of me now, but I have been obsessed with learning how to bring her back from the dead." Betaniki stared at me, eyes wide. Finally she spoke. "I think you need to leave now. I don't know if this is a terrible jest. Believe me, I wish it were. You see, I failed. I don't know why. I could not have been that my love wasn't strong enough, but because no man had a stronger love. Perhaps my skills as an enchanter are not masterful, but it wasn't from lack of study. I could feel my voice rise and knew I was beginning to rant, but I could not hold back. Perhaps the fault lay in that your mother never met me, but I think that only the caster's love is taken into account in the necromantic spell. I don't know what it was. Maybe that horrible creature, the monster that killed her, cast some sort of curse on her with its dying breath. I failed, and I don't know why." With a surprising burst of speed and strength for so small a lady, Betaniki shoved herself against me. She screamed, "Get out!" and I fled out the door. Before she slammed the door shut, I offered my pathetic apologies. "I'm so sorry, Betaniki, but consider that I wanted to bring your mother back to you. It's madness, I know, but there is only one thing that's certain in my life, and that's that I love Paula." The door was nearly shut, but the girl opened it a crack and asked tremulously, "You love whom?" "Paula," I cried to the gods. "My mother," she whispered angrily, "was named Xarlis. Paula was the monster." I stared at the closed door for Mara knows how much time, and then began the long walk back to the Mage's Guild. My memory searched through the minutiae to the tales and Talos night so long ago when I first beheld the statue, and first heard the name of my love. That bread initiate Galen had spoken. He was behind me. Was he recognizing the beast and not the lady? I turned the lonely bend that intersected with the outskirts of Mir Corab, and a large shadow rose from the ground where it had been sitting, waiting for me. "Paula," I groaned. "Paula, kiss me," it howled. And that brings my story up to the present moment. Love is red like blood. Whoa. Well, he got what he wanted, right? Well, I hope this This isn't too gigantic. Trapped by Anonymous. I saw the gold and I took it. A different man might not have, I know that, and from time to time I think back on the hour when I saw the gold and took it. You see, I was hungry. Isn't it ironic? I don't remember much else about that night but the gold and the hunger. I don't remember the name of the tavern or even the village, but I believe it was somewhere in southern Wardenfell. I can't really be certain. For some time I sat dumbly in my chair, my mind occupied with nothing but the pain in my stomach. If you've never been truly hungry from days of no food, you can't know what it's like. You can't concentrate on anything. It wasn't until a figure to my left got up from the table to get a drink and left a stack of gold marks behind that I snapped to awareness. From this moment on, my memory is crystalline, my eyes to the gold, my eyes to the stranger's back walking calmly toward the barmaid. My hand to the gold is in my pocket. I'm up from the table and out the door. For just a moment I look back. The stranger has turned to look my way. He wears a hood, but I can feel his eyes meet mine. I swear I can send him a smile. Out into the street and behind some barrels, I crouch down waiting for my pursuer. On benefit of lifetime running from guards, I know how to disappear. For nearly an hour I waited there, suffering even more from hunger. You see, I was awake now and I had the means to buy myself a feast. This knowledge tortured me. When I finally got to my feet, I were very nearly fainted. I had only enough energy to walk to the other edge of the village to a rundown tavern before collapsing at the table. I think I must have fallen unconscious for a moment before I heard the barmaid's voice. "Can I get you something to eat, Sarah?" I gorged myself on a roast and pies in huge frothing mugs of grief. As the fog of near-fatal starvation began to lift, I looked up from my plate to see a gold-masked stranger looking at me, his wizard glowing by the blinding light of the moon through the window. He wore black leather armor and was a different physique and size from the man I had burgled, but I could tell he knew. I paid for my meal quickly and left. I skirted the edge of the village through a tiled central courtyard surrounded by the squalid peasants' cottages. There was not a light shining from any window or door. No one was in the streets. I could find no place to hide, so I took the road out of town, heading for the wilderness. Hunger had pushed me on in the days before, but now I felt what I imagined to be the whip of guilt, or perhaps even then it was fear. I fell twice, rushing down the dark path, unused to the slopes and pebbles texture. The sounds of animal life, which I had numbed to, were suddenly very loud in my ears, and there was something else out there in the night, something chasing me. On the side of the road there was a low wall, and I scrambled over it and hid. I knew enough about concealment to pick a spot where the bulwark sunk slightly, so even if someone saw the outline of my figure, he would assume it to be part of the wall. It wasn't long before I heard the sound of running footsteps from more than one person pass me by and then stop. There was a moment of whispered conversation, and one of the people ran back on the path toward the village. Then silence. After a few more minutes, I peered out from behind a wall. A female figure in a dun gown, wimple and veil stood in the road. On the other end of the road, blocking the way back to town, was a knight, coated in dark mail. I could see neither of their faces. For a moment I froze, unsure whether either or both had seen me. "Run," said the woman in a dead voice. The hill behind me was too steep, so I leapt over the wall and crossed the road in 2 bounds. Into the night forest I ran, the maddening jingle of the accursed gold in my pocket. I knew I was making so much noise my pursuers could not help but hear me, but now I cared more for putting distance between us than in stealth. Clouds of ash filtered through the moonlight, but I still knew it was too bright to hide. I ran and ran until I felt all my blood pumping in my head and heart, begging me to stop. I was at the edge of the wood, on the other side of a shallow stream from a vast crumbling house encircled by a rail fence. Behind me, running footfall in the broken, dusty earth. So to the south downstream, a distinct sodden splashing of someone moving nearer. There was no choice. I half jumped and half fell into the mud and dragged myself up the bank of the other side. I rolled under the fence and ran through the open field toward the house. Jerking my hand around, I saw 7 shadowy figures by the fence post. The cloaked man I had robbed, the man in the gold mask, the veiled woman, the dark knight, 3 others too who had pursued me, but I had never seen them, and I thought I was the stealthy one. The moon was entirely hidden in a swarm of ash, only the stars offered their meager illumination as I reached the open door of the ruin. I slammed and bolted the door behind me, but I knew there could be no protection for very long. As I looked about the ravaged interior of broken furniture, I searched for someone to hide. A corner, a niche, where if I stayed very still, no one would see me. A splintered table lying against the wall looked perfect for my purposes. I crawled under it and jumped when something moved, and I heard a frightened old man's voice. "Who's there?" "It's all right," I whispered. "I'm not one of them." His puckered, gnarled hand reached out from the shadow and gripped my arm. Instantly I felt sleep fall upon me, resist it as I might. The old man's horrible face, the face of the hungry dead, emerged as the moon came out and shone through the broken window. His talons still gripping me, I fell back, smelling his death around me. The table was thrown back. There stood the 7 hunters and a dozen more. No, hunters they weren't. They were harriers who had chased me out of every hiding place, expertly pushing me to the lair of their real predator. But he was weak with age, the old man was, not as good as the chase as once he was, a blunt killing machine. "Please," I said, it was all I could muster. Having enjoyed the sport I offered, he granted me mercy of sorts. I was not bled dry, I was not cursed by being made one of them, the Byrne. I was kept with others, most of us mad with fear to be aged and tasted at the vampire's whim. We are called cattle. I lost all hope months ago of ever leaving the junk cellar where they keep us. Even if this note finds its way to the outside world, I cannot give enough information about my whereabouts to be rescued. Even if some champion were able to defeat the bloodsuckers, I only write this to keep my own sanity and to warn others. There's something worse than being hungry, being food. Cleansing the Fane. Songs of the Return. Well, I should see if there are more of them, actually. The Seed. Oh, this is the Ancient Tales of the Dwemer Part 2. So, the Ransom of Zarek. The Ransom of Zarek, Ancient Tales of the Dwemer Part 1 by Meribor Soul. I think we'll read it next stream. Important Square. Oh, this is part 3. Good. For now, let us trade a bit, and then I'll go to sleep probably. Oh, it's only 7 AM. But still, I can trade with the Quartz Mage. The Jarl is not here.
Do you have business with... The Jarl is not to be disturbed with common affairs of court. You direct those concerns to me.
Please address all questions to the
won't
steward.
forget what
Hold fire.
If I needed some spells and incantations for those with the talent to cast them. Vampires are clever hunters. More clever than you, definitely.
Right, now to the Winking Skeever.
Welcome to the... Take a look.
Perfect trade.
Remember the Winking Skeever next time your foot's sore.
The Divines saved me from the streets, and they can save you from your trials as well.
Fletching suits me. It's difficult and sometimes tedious, but a well-made arrow strikes forth like the fury of a god. Ah, yet another new face. I'm from Hammerfell, you see. I can hardly keep track of all the people I've been meeting.
Need something?
You're that one from the college. Heard about you.
No lollygagging.
I know your kind. Always sneaking about.
You can sell off that junk at bits and pieces.
You survived Helgen? General Tullius told me what happened. Not many made it out alive. I've got a good feeling about you. I'm not going to go through the normal process with you. I've got a little test lined up. I'm sending you to clear out Fort Haragstad.
Speak with Legate Ricka. She will determine if you are Legion material.
If you die, then I'll have no further use for your corpse. I'm talented.
I don't care. So arrogant. He managed to save this.
Fancy yourself an alchemist, Never could get the hang of it.
I saved Skyrim and possibly all the world from the Dragon Menace.
You stay out of trouble now. The Castle Dower dungeon can break even the strongest.
You were there for Rogvir's execution. Thank you for helping down.
Plenty of fresh fish for you. Everything I've got on display, really. These are troubled times. Be on your guard out
You
there.
look like just what you see here.
Oh, I need to know this. Not Gideon. We've got it before the entrance to High Road. I mean, to Sovngarde.
Come back when you figure out how to spend money.
Take a look. Good luck out there. Seems like a tough time to be wandering this time.
Viren said you got here just before the execution. Trinkets, odds and ends, that sort of thing. Come back to bits and pieces anytime.
Oh, we will. We're getting closer to our goal.
Oh, what a love. Oh, let me just drop everything to help you. I don't mind. Really. Clothes and raiment for the discerning customer.
Alright, we'll make a small discount for you.
Finally.
Where's Angeles?
Ah, welcome to Angela. So you're interested in my potions and ingredients? Don't forget me next time you need herbs and potions.
Seems there's no... the finest weapons and armor.
Alright, we'll make a small discount for you too.
Return anytime you need arms or armor.
Alright, thank you everyone for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. Well, at least we managed to read 3 books. There are a lot more to go on, so see you next time. And my additional streams for Skyrim, as we need to read it all. And right after we finish, we'll also
Notice. Look at my thing.
we'll raid someone. Let's see which streamer can be raided tonight. Raider channels. Well, who we've got? Let's take a look at them. Alright. We can raid back to Miss Maria. She plays Raft. She's at the intense phase of it, so we might actually frighten her, which is loved by her viewers. Alright, let's raid her. Thank you everyone again, and see you around. Bye!